Hello every folks, and good morning. So I wanted to do a quick little tangent here on a quirky little device here. So recently I managed to get my hands on a PSP Go. Basically, this is a funky little device. When Sony decided that their Ericsson phones aren't really doing too hot, so they decided to turn the PSP into one. Now it's basically their first foray into an all-digital device, more or less. Yeah, there was the PSP Straight, but that's kind of whatever. Now, there's a lot of kind of misconceptions, misunderstandings, whatever, in this little device. So let me say, first of all, the whole not being able to play action games on it thing, not necessarily true. It's actually not awful. Like, once you get used to the placement of it, like, once you kind of, like, mentally get there, it's actually pretty cozy, in terms of overall use. Now, personally, the only reason that I'm actually kind of backing out on the device at the moment, oh, by the way to lose to one of the worst units in Silent Line, by the way. One of the only reasons that I'm actually currently selling this device is because of the edges, of all things. Like the little side edges, like if you have a PSP, you know how they've got that silver lining along the sides? This one has that too, except it kind of like cuts into your hand a little bit, which isn't too much of a problem. I just like I had hand surgery and it makes my entire arm hurt to actually use it. But overall, it's actually a pretty cozy device. The screen is really good on them. Like I said, the control layout is actually not as bad as advertised. It can be relatively comfortable. The thing is, you gotta like open hand it in a way. It's like you just sort of like do an OK symbol with your hand, and it's pretty comfortable. Like I've done Monster Hunter on this thing. I've done most of, well, not most of. It's like half of Silent Line parry only, just to kind of test it out, see if that part was true. Definitely, if you're looking for like a portable Game Boy or something like that, it's probably bar none one of your better options. And so I've heard mixed stories on the internal memory of these things. Because you've got 16 gigs of internal memory, which if you're just using it as like a Game Boy emulator or whatever, that's fine. The actual memory cards for them are incredibly expensive. Like I think 8 gig is like 150 frickin' bucks. And there's actually, before you say, wait a minute, it's a PSP, you use the adapter. This thing uses what's known as the M2 card. Basically, it was this proprietary thing that it and the Sony Ericsson or whatever used. Again, just think of Vita memory cards. It's just, they suck, they're expensive, whatever. So, as a result, this thing inevitably ended up getting a mod for it. The main source of those mods, and part of the reason that this thing's value crashed so hard in the last couple months, is because the main source of those mods is out of Ukraine. Now, I was still able to order one just fine. I was still able to to talk to them just fine. I'm pretty sure they're in a safe part of it, or they may not be in it at all. I don't know. But either way, that's my theory as to why on earth they, the actual mods themselves, or rather why the device seems to have tanked in value so hard. So, it does hurt your hand over time because it has that edge that digs in. I'm pretty sure there's ways to smooth that out. I thought a case would do it, but putting a shell case on this thing resulted in the button being a little bit too far. So I was actually thinking, like, if the bottom left little kind of little lanyard holder thing were to be snipped off and just like sanded down, I'm pretty sure you could just make it a pretty cozy thing that way. So yeah, very capable devices, very very convenient, incredibly light. This thing feels like playing on a business card. So yeah, feels good that way. It has like this little kind of suspend feature, which is weird because why don't you just put it into sleep mode? But whatever. Now, one thing I have noticed is that for some reason when you put stuff into suspend mode, for whatever reason, it crashes a lot. I don't understand that. By the way, in this particular case, it was just the recording software crashing because it doesn't know how to handle that particular function. But if we were to do something like this, then we move this up and down. I just noticed that I've been playing this on blurry mode. One sec. There we go. That should look nicer. But yeah, basically when you use suspend, it just kind of gives you a little dealie right here, and the proper way to handle this is just to delete it, to be honest. Because yeah, for whatever reason, it makes stuff crash. It's the most bizarre thing, but it's whatever. What I recommend this device, I mean, considering you can in some cases get them for the same price as a regular PSP, sure, it's a cool little device for sure. Just a lot more cozy than I was expecting it to be. It feels great to use. I'll say that much. It's just that one little ring on the bottom left that's a pain. I don't know why it's like that. Why are you like this? But anywho, would I recommend it? Yeah, it's a great device. Definitely don't pay $400 for it, but if you can get it for sub 100, they're solid. They're acceptable. They're decent. The screens on them are unusually pretty. Like, I was not expecting it to look this good, and I'm not actually sure why. People have told me because it's smaller, it's probably got better, like, pixel density or whatever, but, like, it's just a very, very pretty looking screen, especially if you're using it as, like, a GBA emulator or something like that. Very pretty for that particular thing. Sorry, trying to parry this guy all of a sudden. And, there's a little bit of lag when it comes to trying to play this through OBS through RJL. It's a multi-parted lag fest basically. I will say trying to play like Ace Combat X on this sucked, but anyway. Okay, other random note here. That I actually should probably bring up. If you are using this as a GBA emulator, recently I was clued into the amazingness that is temp GBA. So if you've been using GBSP like I've been for years, because it's kind of the most popular one, it's nice. Temp GBA works a lot better, right? A lot better. In fact, here, let me hook up the other one, because I don't have it installed on this device. But the best way to kind of handle emulators for these particular ones, and especially the Go here. I mean, the overall performance is pretty much identical between the two devices. I can't help but notice that for some reason, some Genesis games look slightly better on the Go. And for some reason, I noticed slightly less visual glitching on PS1 games, but I'm pretty sure that was just a chance thing. I don't think there was actually anything related to the device itself. But okay, let's go ahead and plug this in here. So, for example, if you want to do some crystal clear or something, like I was doing on a separate device, Master Boy is still the best one, but there's a settings pack out there. If you just look like, I think it was like Master Boy Improvements or something like that, there's a setting out there that basically creates a that has a bunch of presets that are really darn good. But I noticed that it was looking a bit washed out. So let's see here. I don't think it was Bruni's set, but there was actually something that was just brought up to me yesterday, in which you can deal with the washed outness by setting color vibrance to 160, and then for the what was it? I don't know, one of these settings here for the smoothing, you turn that off, because if you turn that on, it kind of looks like this, and it looks gross and terrible. If you go back and you go ahead and turn smoothing off, then you finally have the original thing back, and color vibrance to 160 seems to sort out some of the other problems. So that's there. But if you're looking for a GBA emulator, you may potentially have noticed that pretty much everything works on the PSP, or rather on the GBSP on the PSP. Don't worry, this never gets confusing at all. But Golden Sun, not so much. Yeah, Golden Sun runs like just utter molasses on GBSP. It just lags like crazy and doesn't work at all. But if we were to open it up on Temp GBA, which, by the way, I'm really glad that I was able to actually back up my original Tactics Ogre recently. It just, I love it. Anyway, so like, let's go. Okay, one thing that is a little weird through this whole thing is that it switches back to Game Boy controls. It does make sense. It's just most other emulators don't do that. So There we go. I think I had a save state for this. Maybe I didn't. Alright. Let's go ahead and load up a fight here real quick to show you what I mean, because, yeah, there were even a bunch of posts over the years mentioning that, mentioning this particular issue. And you still have your fast forward, so I don't know why Temp GBA isn't considered the best one. Overall, like, pound for pound, this seemed to be the best. Performance is by far the best. The visuals look identical to me, so I don't know. It still has fast forward, still has save states. In fact, it pretty much looks identical to GBSP, aside from a few little like button tweaks and things like that. Only reason I'm pulling this up right now is because yeah, the fights would run at like no FPS. In this case, they're running just fine. So, by the way, if you've never tried the Dark Sun mod for Golden Sun, well, let's go ahead and oh, Cat says hi, by the way. Let's go ahead and show how that process works, because yeah, this is hilarious. These guys have absolutely zero chance of accomplishing anything or even moving, more than likely. It's not the easiest mod out there, is the thing. But yeah, just to show, it has the same slowdowns as the GBA. So, for example, that effect always slow down on the GBA. It does that part just fine. That part's all silky smooth, because for some reason all the cool like AoE moves work just fine. Yeah, what a fair mod, by the way. It's like, oh, your entire team's wiped, and also, you know, they're sealed. Good luck figuring that one out, bucko. I remember, like, this is the boss that kind of soft-locked me on this particular mod, because I didn't want to go back and grind. Anyway, so point being, yes, it works just fine. So, you know, I'll just go ahead and lose and go from there. And yeah, ultimately this was supposed to be about the PSP Go. It's a solid device. You know, it good. It happy little game clam. All right, you guys have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. And yes, there are a bunch of other projects coming. It's, as per usual, it's just been crazy busy. All right, take care.